Welcome to Mystara for a look at some of the rarest creatures in the setting. Demons. Yes, Mystara has demons, or fiends, or Tanari, depending on whether you look at the rules from the Immortal box set, Wrath of the Immortals, or 2nd edition and beyond. There were many shouty, angry people who wanted the game changed back in the day, and TSR acquiesced. Thus, all the different names. It didn't stop the angry people from demanding more, so all the changes were for naught. The presence of demons created a massive number of continuity snarls and later rewrites. But I'm Mr. Welch, and remember, necktie, nectar, neon, definitely an N-word. Mystara changed many of the rules for demons compared to the rest of the multiverse. They first appeared in the Immortal box set, and were the same in appearance as the 1st edition demons found in the Monster Manual, with the main exception of their names being descriptions instead of the names we were used to. Marilys were hissing demons, Balors were roaring demons, Succubus and Incubi were whispering demons, Ferox were screaming demons, Hezru were croaking demons, Glabrazu were the howling demons, and groaning demons were the Nalfeshni. They had specific tasks given to them by the entropic immortals, but were originally from the outer planes. They were reshaped mortals, one and all, not powerful enough to be immortals, but worthy enough to gain new forms after death. The regular old demons were called lesser demons. There were only 2 greater demons, the immortals Orcus and Demogorgon. Despite having the appearance of the demon lords known in other worlds, they were their own creatures and the commanders of the hordes of demons in the outer planes. The greater demons awarded demonhood to their worthy followers, Orcus rewarded his undead followers, and Demogorgon the living creatures of evil. When a follower is rewarded with demonhood, they're promoted straight to the position. Unlike 1st edition, they didn't have to start off as a main and work their way up through the ranks. So if you were evil enough, you'd go straight to Roaring Demon. Didn't have to go do all the make-busy work like the other lesser demons in the Abyss. Then much of this lore was upended when Wrath of the Immortals came out, and the Satanic Panic turned them into fiends because demon was a dirty word. So renaming them fiends instead of demons made everything better for everybody. That is what we in the Retipius Airfleet refer to as a lie. The ranks of the greater demon immortals were increased with Alphax and Stodos, and the other entropic immortals gained demons as personal servants to do their bidding. Only some entropics use every kind of demon, preferring just a few select types. A few have no use for demons, having their own minions. Comparing the immortal demons to the Wrath demons, there's no comparison. The demons from the box set are almost demigods in terms of power, especially the Balor. Demons in Mystara can earn power points, though they're not truly immortals, they're just exalted. The Balor came with a staggering 5,000 power points, putting it on par with Imperial level immortals, the 3rd highest ranked immortals. To compare a Balor to the other versions, the box set has 35 hit dice, 80% magic resistance, and is worth a staggering 1.5 million experience points if you can kill it. The Wrath of the Immortals versions drops to 25 hit dice, 25% magic resistance, and is worth 33.5 thousand XP. The 1st edition Balor comes in a distant 3rd place with only 8 hit dice, though it does have 75% magic resistance, and it's only worth 3600 XP. Fun fact, the 1st edition Monster Manual does not include XP for monsters. You had to go to Appendix E in the Dungeon Master's Guide for that. Regardless, as you can see, immortal demons were designed as foes for immortals rather than random encounters in some abandoned dwarf mine. Wrath brought the demons down to a far more manageable level, so that paltry 30th level mortals had a slight chance. They were still going to be a tough fight, with a minimum 10 hit dice and 100 power points for the weakest demons, but against master level heroes, you could fight them. All demons are classified as exalted status, meaning they do full damage against immortals, and they have additional powers depending on what type of demon they are. They can call in other demons for help, though success is not guaranteed, and calling in too many demons draws the immortals' attention quickly. This power is rarely used on the prime plane, as demons are direct instruments of immortals. Dropping a Hezru on a city street breaks so many immortal rules it's not funny. Like getting the highest level members of the Order of Ebony dispatched to sort out the problem. The mortals trained to deal with extraplanar excursions with extreme prejudice. Those mortals, the ones that answer directly back to the Council of Intrusion, which has a permanent member in Nyx as far as the representative for entropy, and she disapproves of demons as she's a perky undead kind of chick. The point of using traditional demonic forms instead of creating new creatures as your personal servants is pragmatic. Entropic immortals do have a use for new creatures explicitly designed for a task, but the more the creature stands out, the fewer tasks it can perform that require stealth or tact. Immortals need servants that can do their bidding across the different planes. A lowly Vrock walking the streets of Sigil to deliver a message isn't going to draw as many stares as a custom creation that stands alone in the plains. The Abyss is filled with spies sent by the entropic immortals, as the demon lords and the entropics have strained relations at best. A Mystaran Hezru is identical to an abyssal Hezru except in loyalties. Mystaran demons aren't promoted to a new, more powerful form. They have their current forms enhanced as a reward. They were given their particular state for a reason. They aren't going to be turned into something else because they're good at a particular form. Fiends have a shared set of powers and can use their power points to cast spells like immortals. These spells are treated as 36th level spells and creates the biggest problem for using demons with mortal characters. A Hezru, which serves as a battering ram for the entropic forces, is the weakest Mystaran demon and can wish for the party's death 11 times before it runs out of power points. Still trying to figure out how to balance this, except by separating Mystaran fiends from their abyssal clones. Mystaran demons are just more potent than the abyssal versions, but far less in number. When you reveal the true identity of the succubus inside the Imperial Court and she calls down a meteor swarm, you know you're facing an exalted level demon. Characters can kill Mystaran demons. They reincarnate just like other mortal creatures. They are only exalted creatures, but they're bloody difficult to kill, and if you put one down, it goes back into the reincarnation queue. They don't need to sleep, eat, or breathe. They're unaffected by energy drain, aging, disease, and they're immune to ESP-like effects from immortals. They all possess the Call Other Immortal, but only to summon demons of their type. They can also summon less powerful demons, though that's harder to do. The demons can always be called by their patron immortal, and they had best be ready to answer. Immortals typically will only call one demon to do their bidding at a time. Other immortals keep track of these creatures, and generally having more than one in a location at the same time is suspicious. One important thing to remember when talking about demons, you're rarely going to find one on the prime plane. They are extraplanar creatures first and foremost. As exalted creatures, they're not allowed to just walk onto the planet like immortals. If they're visiting Mystara, more than likely they're there for a specific reason. If a temple goes rogue and starts worshipping a demon prince or outside deity, then the immortals might give clearance for an Alfeshni to show up and set an example. If the demon keeps the slaughter to acceptable targets, no matter how much of a bloodbath he makes it, the immortals view this as just business. If he decides to go sightseeing, he will be put down even if permission has already been given. Demons can be used as assassins on the prime plane. This is the central plot of one of the immortal level modules. But care has to be taken by the entropic immortals. They have a limited time window to finish the job before somebody notices. If they fail, their patron risks reprisal from the other immortals for interfering with mortal business. The demon has to materialize, kill its target, and get out before being noticed. The worst possibility is the target is able to kill the demon, as then the patron will be found out, and of course the demon's dead. Because of this, demons are rarely used for assassinations on the prime plane. There's just too much to risk, and there's other minions that can perform assassinations without drawing too much attention. Outside the prime, the demons can run free. Their restrictions only extend to the mortal realms. Baelors lead the entropic armies on worlds crafted by their powers. Glabrazu and Hezru tear apart those who have displeased Orcus or Thanatos with a command. They are at their most dangerous in the entropic planes, something even master-level adventurers are wise to heed. When the entropics feel bold, they will unleash their hordes on the abyss to gain the fealty of weaker demons. The Mystara demons will beat down a legion or two of abyssal demons and escort their newfound minions back through the Great Barrier to serve in the entropic hordes. Only after the abyssals arrive do they discover it's a death sentence. If they're destroyed here, they're destroyed forever. They don't reincarnate inside the barrier like the Mystara demons. Entropic immortals don't care. There's always more abyssal fiends waiting to be pressed into service. Of special note for the demons of Mystara are the Ostigos, or the Death Fiends. These creatures were once abyssal fiends until they performed some great act of betrayal that's now long since forgotten, so much that their entire race was banished and pushed across the Great Barrier. The crossing was unpleasant, and untold creatures died before transitioning into Mystara. They ran rampant when they first arrived, thousands of years before the rise of Blackmoor, when the planet was young. But then they started to discover the whole die inside the barrier permanently problem. They aren't considered a significant race in Mystara, as they've been driven into the dimension of nightmares. They will pop into Mystara occasionally, but they aren't more of a threat than the other nightmare creatures that inhabit their new domain. For those curious, there are no Mystaran devils or celestials. The more lawful extraplanar creatures will work within the rules of Mystara to gain access to the realm. Abyssal demons trying to impersonate Mystara demons aren't going to survive very long despite their similarities. If two Merilith are trying to convince the immortal Orcus that they're the real deal and the other one's the impostor, the first one to wish the other one out of existence is the Mystara demon. The other spheres have their own creatures that will serve them. Servitors are a catch-all term for creatures brought into existence by immortals to be servants. They can be of any size or shape imaginable. Each one's a custom creation. The opposite of the demons are the Titans, which aren't related to other Titans from D&D. The name is just the same. They are 20 feet tall and they serve the hierarchs. There's approximately 20 serving each different sphere, and they're used to perform essential tasks for all the spheres of power, except entropy. The rules for demons are all over the place. They make multiple appearances in several modules. There's a roaring demon famously trapped in Castle Ithildown. The power level between the Immortal box set and the Wrath of the Immortals is staggering. A low-level demon from the Immortals box set is a match for low to mid-level Immortals. They would TPK a master-level party without much of a problem. The whole casting 9th level spells at 36th level can be a pain for mortals. Demons rarely ever appear in groups. The most you'll ever see is a 3-pack when a stronger demon isn't available. Pretty sure these guys have an agent that arranges bookings the way they operate. That's demons. They're supposed to be immortal level foes rather than mid to high tier mortal enemies. The books could explain their uses better, and they were never included in most supplements. The party has to fight some Vrox at level 10 in Wrath of the Immortals, but the writer seems to forget that they can cast 9th level spells. Okay, enough about demons. Play them the way you want to. Remember, they were designed to challenge deities, not mortals. Next up, we will look at why I have trust issues with the plants of Mystara, like the vampire rose that took me by surprise all those years ago when I was a first-level thief. Plus a whole lot more chlorophyll-filled nasties. But until then, remember, decades ago, when the chain of bookstores I was managing couldn't keep up with the new economy, I was given a job working a hot pot over at Reaper Miniatures slinging the lead. Wasn't very good at it. I didn't have the fine eye to keep track of the temperature and the pressure and all of that. But I got to know Ed Pugh, the owner and CEO over at Reaper. Ed was a man who was passionate about his work. Reaper was years ahead of everyone else in the technology for creating miniatures because they were always looking to fix and come up with new and better ways to make miniatures. That's one of the reasons why Reaper could create huge metal miniatures that other miniature companies could only dream of. Like Trakzul, the rat bastard. God, I hated that thing. But it was an impressive piece of metal. Ed started giving me additional work in the form of game design because he was trying to find new uses and ways to make money for the miniatures. He would take me and a few of the other guys, sit us down, and then just go into long stories about how to design games. And I would take out a notepad and take notes. Ed Pugh taught me everything I knew about game design, and I won't lie. Unfortunately, as of this recording, he passed away after a brief illness. I just saw the post on Reaper Miniatures. So let me tell you a story I haven't been able to tell for 20 years. I was going on vacation to Vancouver to visit my friend Tina, and I wanted to get her something special, so I talked to one of the artists, Tim, who's better known as Talon, to see if he could take a picture of Tina and turn her into this cute little gnome. I was going to owe him big time for this, and just a pencil sketch. So he drew it up, and then he called me in and said, hey, I got something to look at. So I went in there, and Tina had been turned into this cute gnome with little pigtails, and she's walking, and she's got a harp and a bag of scrolls, and she's all happy and go-lucky, and it's one of the most cheerful pieces of art, and she still has it, by the way. Well, while me and Tim are admiring this new piece of art, Ed sneaks up on us and sees that we're looking at this art. He grabs the art from Tim, and he says, hey, this is the new Gnome Bard art, isn't it? And we both look at him, and we both say, yes, in a complete and utter lie. He knew we were lying. He knew that piece was drawn up on the clock when we both should have been working. But it was such an amazing piece of art that he sent it over to the guys that do the 3D casting. They made the 3D version of it. It got cast. It became Thora Sweet Thumb. Reaper catalog number Dark Heaven Apocalypse 2721 if anyone's curious. Sandra Garrity did the sculpt. It's still in production. I haven't been able to tell that story for 20 years. Ed, you will be missed. In the industry, you were one of the titans.